Why did you choose to run?
Well, Jimmy, I think in the case of a lot of citizens is they see problems usually in their neighborhood that develop in their neighborhood, and they think that they can do a better job of running the city. And what they don't understand is that there's a lot of complex problems to running the city, just like there is a business. And my motivation was, of course, citizens would come to me, and if you say anything about it, they'll say, well, why don't you run? Well, okay, I decided to run, and what motivated me was actually my street condition. It was overlaid, I don't know the exact date, but maybe 4 years ago, and it was a beautiful overlay. They did a great job of overlaying it, but since then, it's been compromised 5 times with big, huge holes dug out in the street. Now, these develop problems because they are not sealed correctly along with the overlay. So they just get beat out. These are huge, huge things where they have to make repairs. And I understand they got to make repairs. But they're huge holes, they're going to get beat out, and then where are you going to be? You're going to have another problem on one that was overlaid. The overlay was beautiful. Overlay was costly. And now we're having to go back and repair.
Do you feel like, in this specific instance, do you feel like that streets need to be totally redone when anything's done to a street?
Here's what I feel like. And here's what I feel like the solution to that problem is if we want to really join hands with our county, would be to hire a real street, road, and bridge engineer. Somebody that really knows what they're doing. Not saying that our city did not do a good job of the overlay. They did. It was beautiful. It's a 1-block street and been compromised 5 times. There's something. It's not just been compromised for water or sewer. There was a problem with the overlay where water would get underneath the street and wash out underneath the street. Well, once the sun came out and got that hot, then you've got big holes.
Yeah.
And they're dips, and it's just it's just not good for our vehicles, and it's not good for the money that we spent to do that overlay. So I believe the answer to the problem, join with the county and hire somebody that really knows what they're doing.
Working with the county in this way, do you think there's some other things that the city and county need to work on that they're not?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the senior citizens building comes to mind to me. It is usable by the county, and I made a visit there not long ago, and it would be in the classification of deplorable. It was built in 1986. That doesn't sound like an old building, but it has never been renovated, and it has problems that have been reported that are just absolutely, they're just going unnoticed and untaken care of. One of them is a dangerous situation as far as I'm concerned. I know health standards, and it has mold near the dishwasher, and that's just a bad situation for the people who come there, the people who work there. The building, I think, was probably designed and built for just a one-purpose thing for seniors to gather. However, it has turned into much more than that. And if you want to and have the time, go visit with the director down there, and she will enlighten you. She really enlightened me on a lot of things I had no idea went on at that building. But now that I know, I can be a part of those. And certainly I want to be a part of getting her what she really needs. She needs the tools that she really needs to do.
So I hear streets, I hear senior citizens. What other needs in the city do you perceive?
Well, I want to make sure that our citizens are safe, and that is with our police, fire, and emergency services. That includes ambulance. I know that belongs to the hospital, but we're a big part of how they fund that ambulance service. So we should really be getting what we need out of that too. The fire service. I'm not sure, along with a lot of other citizens, that I understand why the fire chief was let go. If it's a cost savings measure, then I have to question, why are we spending money elsewhere? You know, I have a saying, and that is, if your toilet's backing up, don't remodel your kitchen. You know? It seems like we're doing a lot of kitchen remodeling, but we're not calling the plumber to fix the toilet. And I want to get the toilet fixed and then remodel the kitchen. If the kitchen's working, then fine.
Right.
I just happened to notice Friday morning, I was at a local store and a vehicle pulled up next to me, and it was the emergency vehicle for the county fire chief. Now, I'm not sure how many employees he manages, but I'm sure he manages a great number less than what a fire chief would here. And I see that as a huge need to look into getting that fire chief back. If it's a cost measure, then that's fine. Let's stop spending money somewhere else and let's get that fire chief back, because that's important to us, is that we're protected.
Budget plays a big role in the work of a city council member. What prepares you to work with budgets?
Well, as my career rose through Coca-Cola, we deal on a daily basis with huge contracts. My area of responsibility with Coca-Cola alone generates about $3 million in revenue a year. And that most of that comes from contracted work. And we have to, and these are complex contracts. These are very specific of what we have to do and what they have to do, where we are on money and where they're at on money, generating profits for them and generating revenue for us. So I'm very well prepared. I have watched the budget for City of Sulphur Springs online, as anybody can do, for quite a number of years, ever since I was interested in city council. So I'm very prepared for that day when the budget is presented to me. I do feel like, as a council candidate, that council people should have, and I don't know what their processes are, because citizens are not really involved in that. They're presented with a budget, but that's it, not the processes. And I believe that there should be a process in place council members can line item veto item on the budget, where it's not wrapped up into something else. A good, for instance, of that is the fire chief. Fire chief is wrapped up into the fire budget. Council members have to vote for the budget, but then they have to take a separate vote for the fire chief. We had one council member who abstained. It was perfectly his right to do so. But then it comes into question, why did you approve the budget? And then you don't for this. Well, why did we have two separate votes for it? Why couldn't we just line item the fire chief and done away with it right there?
When you look at the city as a whole, what are some of the things that you see for its future that you would like to bring to pass?
Well, naturally, what comes to my mind is empowering the code enforcement with more powers, more tools to actually get something done about some of these places that we're noticing all over town. 50% of our citizens rent, and we have no renters grievance committee, council whatsoever. They're just kind of out there to play the rules any way they want to. I'll give you, for instance, I had a neighbor across the street from me. They rent. Their house had a slight fire in it, and about the same time they had a tremendous water leak from rain. The landlord comes over, repairs the stove that caused the fire. Now, if it were me, I'm dealing with people's lives in my house. I want to remove the stove, put in a new one. He repairs it, which is fine. I mean, okay, if it's repaired, but who actually monitors that? I feel like code enforcement should monitor that through the renter and say, this is still not safe. This is not a safe situation. He patches the ceiling in the house but doesn't fix the roof. Okay? So we've still got a problem, small children in here, and we know what black mold is doing these days. We know where that goes. So I'm concerned that these renters have no place to go when this is happening. Did he make the repairs? Yes. Were they still safe? No. Not by anybody's imagination were they safe. So I'm concerned that our citizens, who are made up of 50% population of renters, have no place to go. In turn, I feel like they don't take care of the property. In turn, we wind up with properties in our neighborhoods that are unsightly. I've got a whole street of them right now. When me and Jennifer moved into our house 25 years ago, I would say 90% of the street was ownership. And it has reversed now to maybe 20% ownership. And you can see the decline. And it's overallly because the landlords are not taking care of the property, which in turn, the renters don't take care of the property. The renters just up and move to another place. Landlord comes in and mildly fixes it. And I want to see code enforcement not just added with a bunch of rules, but I want to give them some backbone. Where when he goes in and he determines that that's unsafe, he can really do something about it.
Business development, what specific goals do you have in the area of business development?
You know, this is a thorn in a lot of people's sides if you talk to them. A lot of our business development is actually outside the city limits and not susceptible to our tax. Now, those people, they do bring people in who buy homes, those are taxable. They spend money, that's all taxable. But there's just this concern that they're building outside the city limits and not being taxed. We can't do anything about that. I mean, if they chose to build outside, all we can do is support them and gain from what they bring to the table. Business development, I develop business every single day. And the way we develop business is a mix of what we know is going to sell and what we put out there, and actually just encourage the consumer to take. So I think that we need to encourage more business here. Just like I encourage customers to not pick up the carbonated soft drink. They're looking for something healthy, pick up some kind of water. We've got to encourage more business to come here. Right now, I don't think we're encouraging them. Now, we are outside that umbrella where the DFW Metroplex shifted to Rockwall. Rockwall shifts to Greenville. But what happened there? You left out Royce City. You left out Mesquite. And those are going to happen. Now we're outside that umbrella because we didn't catch the drops from Rockwall. Greenville did. And so we have to work extra hard to get these people's confidence and get them in and be more friendly to them.
In wrapping up, what would you specifically want to say to the voters in Sulphur Springs?
Well, I want to say that I am, I'm probably labeled a rebel, and I'm not at all. I'm willing to work with anybody, and I am not anti-downtown. I have a lot of friends who own business down there. Why would I want to see them fail? I don't. I want to see them succeed, and they get it. You know, when I tell them each and every single time when we have a convenience store open up in Sulphur Springs, that splits the business up. So what my company has to do is try to make sure that whoever is being taken from gets that new business. Okay? It can't work out every single time, but wherever they're getting the new business. And with a number of businesses in the same classification opening up downtown, it's creating a problem where there's a revolving door. And we have got to get away from managing and micromanaging and focusing on that 4-block area and come out to the other areas where the companies that come in here pay better. They pay insurance. They have retirement plans. They have a formal line of promotion where somebody can go to another city and manage a store. We've got to get away from this is what we're doing downtown and nothing else is appropriate. There's the rental rate there. If you think about it, as we beautify Silver Springs, and we want that downtown and we want it thriving, and it is. I was just down there Saturday night to eat and I could barely find a parking lot. You know that. However, whenever you start that beautification process and it reaches a level where rents are then being doubled, how are people going to afford that? People want a return on their investment, and I don't blame them. If I had a building downtown and I had spent a lot of money on it, I want a return on that investment. So rent's going to be high. So local businesses are struggling. I just talked to one the other day. Her rent went up significantly, like 40%. She was not only going to be responsible for the 40% increase in rent, but the electrical, the air conditioning, and the plumbing. And that's in her lease. So if her air conditioner goes out, she's going to have to pay. Or she's going to have to move out and be susceptible to her lease. And that's not good for her. You know, she can't stay in business that way. She's having to move. And I hate that, because there's another empty building that's just going to be part of the revolving door. We've got to balance it out. We've got to figure it out and balance it out, where these rents are not too high for people to be there, and we're mixing our business where there's eateries and there is retail. We've got to get retail.